Today, countless truck drivers will cross an invisible line we have named the critical point. The critical point is a place and a time after which a person is powerless to avoid a collision. Though collisions don't always result, crossing this line means that a driver has lost control of his or her safety and must rely on luck or the actions of others to avoid conflict. The good news is that reaching or passing the critical point is usually unnecessary. Easy-to-master driving skills can dramatically reduce your potential for being involved in a motor vehicle collision. For almost 50 years, Smith System Driver Improvement Institute has been helping some of the largest companies in the world bring their fleet collisions under control. I'm Alan Ackles. During this presentation, my co-host Phyllis Cicero and I will show you how common mistakes can bring drivers to the critical point and expose them to avoidable danger. More importantly, we will show you how to prevent these errors and make your driving not just safer, but more relaxed and enjoyable as well. In addition, we can help you and the organizations you work with benefit from lower fuel and maintenance costs, both on and off the job. Let's start with Smith System's 5 keys to space cushion driving.
Now, these keys are the tools that you need to use to avoid unnecessary exposure to critical point situations which may occur the next time you find yourself behind the wheel.
Key number 1 is aim high in steering. Because people have been driving for less than a century, and because the traffic environment is becoming increasingly more complex, our eyes have not yet fully adapted to the need. We are burdened with natural seeing skills that are inadequate for moving at typical driving speeds. Most people usually look to where their vehicle will be in about 3 to 6 seconds. Packed into this small window of awareness is an intense and hasty thought process. To navigate in traffic, people must see a broad spectrum of information, evaluate what they see for its relevance, make accurate decisions, and act upon those decisions. They must do all of this in about the same amount of time it might take them to walk across a small room. Here's Dell touching on this point with his group.
For those lacking advanced driving skills, this cramming process takes place over and over again, from the moment they put the key in the ignition until they arrive at their final destination. At minimum, this type of driving is often stressful and frustrating. But quite predictably, and more dangerously, if a driver forces too much mental and physical activity into too little time, mistakes will occur.
Short-sighted driving can also lead to late braking, load shifting, the potential for rollovers, last-second adjustments to what could have been seen and allowed for much sooner, and of course, collisions. We suggest that people learn to look at least 15 seconds into their future. In other words, we recommend that you aim high. Scan ahead to where your truck will be in about 15 seconds. That might be a couple of blocks at city driving speeds, or more than a quarter of a mile at highway speeds.
The second key is get the big picture. I'm Phyllis Cicero. When you drive, there are many objects and a great deal of information competing for your attention. Now, much of it is irrelevant, and good drivers know how to screen important information from the numerous objects that might otherwise distract them. Less skilled drivers can find themselves in trouble without ever knowing what put them there. The price for distraction can be very high. The big picture is a constantly moving 360-degree panorama. Since trouble can come from any direction, keeping the panorama up to date can pay off. One area of vulnerability is when we must negotiate turns and corners. It's essential for people to aim high and see the whole picture when turning. For many drivers, this is the time when their big picture can become very small. Don't let your windshield dictate the direction of your eyes. Push your eyes around the corners before you commit your vehicle. Another area of concern is the way some people place themselves in traffic. Many drivers position their vehicles in a way that makes obtaining the complete picture very difficult or even impossible. Perhaps the most critical element of vehicle placement relates to following distance. Obviously, stopping distance and reaction time are essential, but enhanced visibility is the important bonus that comes with proper space in front of our vehicles. When drivers follow too closely, their eyes constantly return to the vehicle ahead of them. This is necessary because at a subconscious level, we are aware that if the vehicle in front does anything suddenly, we must be aware of it instantly. The time we spend watching this vehicle is time we cannot spend analyzing other important information. Depending on the vehicle and the conditions, we encourage people to maintain at least 4 seconds of following distance when driving a truck. To check your distance, pick out a fixed reference point some distance ahead of the vehicle in front of you. In this case, we will use the shadow at the overpass you see here. When the vehicle passes this point, begin counting the seconds. It should take you at least 4 seconds to arrive at the same point. This single action provides you with 3 essential elements of the Smith system: space for the vehicle, visibility for the driver, and additional time to make decisions. You should build in even more space with a full load, a lengthy vehicle, or if weather, visibility, or traction conditions are poor. In addition, it's advisable to allow more space if you are tired or not at your best for any reason. Since good following distance gives you additional time and allows your eyes the freedom to evaluate the rest of the picture, use part of this time bonus to glance at one of your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Use it to create and maintain a wide scanning pattern to the sides. Lisa Manson will give us some additional insight.
Active eyes are usually capable of detecting danger in time to avoid conflict. As you'll see, active eyes are the theme of our next key. Keep your eyes moving. Our eyes and our minds have an amazing capacity for dealing with rapidly changing information, if we let them. Unfortunately, most people have periods of time, some of which can be lengthy, where they allow their eyes to remain relatively inactive. Yes, their mind may be thinking and their eyes may be seeing, but is processing just 20% or even 50% of relevant data enough?
Healthy eyes work at 2 levels. First, we have peripheral vision. Peripheral vision, for most people, provides an area of awareness of about 180 degrees. Though this portion of our vision is indistinct, it serves as an early warning system. Its primary function is triggered by light, color, or motion. Now, when our minds are alerted to the stimulus, the natural response is to send our second source of vision to investigate. Central cone vision brings us about 3 degrees of clear, focused vision. It is generally this vision that sends the information to the brain about which decisions are made. Now, if our eyes are active and if they are trained to filter important information from the variety of irrelevant distractions that can occupy a less skilled driver, we can instantly bring down our potential for a collision. Adding to our security is the fact that as we move our eyes, our peripheral vision shifts with it to add to our degree of awareness. For example, if our central cone vision moves 30 degrees to each side, our peripheral vision will move with it. Now, that action temporarily increases the area of peripheral awareness from 180 degrees to 240 degrees. Now, checking the mirrors adds even more. With a steady scanning pattern, our awareness can approach and sustain the optimum 360 degrees. Phyllis?
Thanks, Alan. The danger often comes when our eyes fail to deliver to their full potential. As drivers, we become vulnerable when our eyes and our minds fail to work as a team. Sometimes people become distracted by an object, whether or not it's important, and they fail to see other objects. This is known as a fixed stare. Because the sensitivity of the peripheral vision diminishes in a stare, we sacrifice the big picture for a much smaller one when we fixate on a single object for as little as 2 seconds. This mistake is another cause of last-second reactions and late braking. Another common eye activity, or more accurately, a lack of it, is associated with a blank stare. This is daydreaming. Our eyes may be resting on an object, but our minds are not analyzing it. This is very common among people who are fatigued after hours behind the wheel. Again, the result is that our peripheral vision is less effective and our scanning pattern comes to a near halt. The answer is simple. Make it a habit to use this key. Keep your eyes moving. Proper use of key 3 can help you remain both alert and aware.
Next, let's explore the space cushion concept. When a vehicle is surrounded by space, it can't be involved in an incident. This is true when parked or when moving, in a van, a car, or a bus. It's only when the space is penetrated that a collision can take place. In an ideal world, space and traffic would always be as easy to find as there was in this parking lot. Unfortunately, in most locations, our driving activity is growing faster than our road system. As a result, our roadways are becoming ever more congested. Still, space can usually be found, even for a truck. Actively obtaining and maintaining space around the vehicle relates to our fourth key: leave yourself an out. Because we're human, we can make mistakes when we drive. When we have space, we have margin for error. Space is a form of insulation against our mistakes and the errors of others. Even in very heavy traffic, vehicles tend to travel in clusters. Though riding with others is obviously not viewed as a threat by these drivers, the danger of driving in packs comes in two forms. First, if anyone in this group should make a sudden error, nearly everyone could be instantly involved. Secondly, visibility is restricted for these drivers. It's difficult to obtain the big picture when a large part of the driver's attention must be applied to constant management of the relationship between the surrounding vehicles. When possible, ride between the clusters. And when traffic is tight, keep at least a space to the front of you open. As you know, all the ingredients of a collision can be assembled in just a few seconds. And when it happens, and it does hundreds of thousands of times a day, there is no substitute for space around the vehicle. And if a space cushion doesn't already exist, there's probably no time to analyze the situation and build one. Don't let the door close on you. Allow for trouble in advance. You can stay on the safe side of the critical point if you leave yourself an out. Now, our last key is to make sure they see you. As much as we might try, we cannot always maintain complete control of our traffic or pedestrian environment. At times, we must rely on others to do their part. Well, unfortunately, the drivers or pedestrians around us may not be seeing what they could or should. For those moments, it's often a good idea to try to obtain eye contact. When danger presents itself, timely application of turn indicators, brake lights, emergency flashers, or the friendly use of the horn might prevent tragedy. Even vehicle placement can be critical. Jim Smith will give us some insight on this point.
Putting your vehicle in a position that makes it easily visible to other drivers could mean the difference between arriving safely or dealing with the aftermath of somebody else's mistakes. Remember, a blind area isn't just a place where another driver can't see. It's anywhere they aren't looking. Regardless of the size of your vehicle, be prepared to help other drivers see what they need to see. Make our fifth key a habit. Make sure they see you.